The sponsor for this episode of The Stand is Vibe Media. In today's legal world, reputation isn't built by word of mouth alone. It's built by presence. Your firm's story deserves to be seen, heard, and remembered. At Vibe Media, we help law firms modernize their image with powerful video, photography, and branded storytelling. No more stock photos or templated websites. We create authentic visuals that capture your team's integrity, expertise, and human side. Because clients don't just hire lawyers, they hire people they trust. From attorney profiles and brand films to recruitment videos and event coverage, we bring strategy and creativity together to showcase what makes your firm different. If your firm is ready to stand out in a crowded market, it's time to tell your story with intention. Visit thenewvibe.com and let's bring your vision to life with Vibe Media.
Hello again, Lemonade for Legal Lemonheads and Lemonaders. It's Alan Wilson from GLJ Benefit Consultants, and welcome to another episode of The Stand, where we provide expert solutions for modern law firm issues.
Wait a second. Hold on. I'm not even sure why you're talking. I thought I'm in charge this episode. And
Why
then
are you talking now?
Because I'm here to interview you.
Oh, no. What,
Oh.
You are?
Yes. I'm supposed to be saying, welcome to The Stand. We are so glad you're here, to all the Lemonaders and the Lemonheads.
Okay, well, look who it is, everyone. It's Debbie Foster from Affinity Consulting Group.
Here I am.
Gosh,
And
thanks.
it's Alan Wilson, our special guest today. Alan Wilson
Wow.
from coming to you from the Florida Lemonade for Legal headquarters. I've brought with me Alan Wilson from GLJ Benefit Group, who's got a bucket of lemons back there behind us, true to the theme. Nice work.
What? I'm going to reveal something.
Not real.
They're fake.
I figured.
Okay.
That's better. You get fruit flies back there. That's kind of a pain. All right. That's not why we're here, though. I am so excited to be here with you today because I know we're going to talk about benefits. And I know that one of the biggest challenges that law firms are facing right now, which is not what we're going to talk about specifically today, is how they attract and retain talent. And one of the ways that they do that is through benefits. And I am super excited to hear you talk about how law firms strategically think about benefits.
Debbie, thanks. There's so many approaches to benefit offerings, within law firms, regardless of size. But we know this, that when you approach benefits as a one size fits all, you get just that. Here's a benefit package. We haven't really thought a whole lot about it, but it checks off all the boxes. We have medical, and we have some long-term disability, and we have, and it's just, and then it gets communicated that way. Hey, we have a great benefit package here at our law firm. You will really like it. You should work here. We found
the cheapest one we could find.
Challenge. What's that?
We found the cheapest one we could find.
We have saved so much money this year, and you're gonna love it. And there's so much conversation that goes into developing benefit plans. However, it seems that law firms, and really not just law firms, but many businesses, they think about benefits one time a year, 90 days out of renewal or 60 days out of when they're going to do their renewal. That's when they start talking about, hey, we got our renewal and we got an increase. Well, we should probably talk about benefits now. And, it just doesn't lend itself to really caring about the employees, really caring about those associates, and really caring about the partners. There's a way to approach this, this issue, but it just doesn't, when there's not thought put in throughout the year, communicating the great benefits that you may have, developing new benefits that are out there in the marketplace, there's an attrition of good people that leave law firms because of their benefit packages.
And I think that, one of the things that I hear all the time, and I know that this is true for us too, reminding people about benefits. A lot of times law firms are investing in benefits programs that their employees aren't really taking advantage of because they don't know about them or they don't understand how to access the benefits. And so it really is on the law firm to think about how do we educate people on our benefits, but how do we stay educated on what's available to us and what makes sense for us from a benefits perspective?
And it really comes from having a good quality partner in doing those things. But communication ends up being the key, because benefits are a part of the total benefit and the total compensation package.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important that everyone in the firm understands that, yeah, gosh, some of us get salary and then we have bonus and we have some commissions here. We get paid on this or a proportion of this particular case, but there's this huge benefit of compensation that the firm is paying for in the majority of cases, and it's not communicated as such.
Mm-hmm.
So the employees are like, well, yeah, my pay's really good and the benefits are okay, but I don't really know what it is that I'm getting. But if the firm, can buckle down, and we'll talk about that, I guess when we get to a solution, but it's such communication of benefits is so important, and it's really okay. And there's this big fear out there of talking about proportionate benefits. And that means really just that there's some very high earners, inside of law firms. And it's okay to talk about having additional benefits at a higher level for those that are making well into $700,000-800,000 millions of dollars. Their need is a little bit different. It's much different than someone who may be a first-year associate.
So I think that I'm hearing what you're saying. If I were to really quantify the issue, what you're saying is that benefits are not one size fits all, and that we should make sure that when we're thinking about benefits, that we have a good partner that can help us understand what it means to have proportional benefits. We agree that that's the issue?
Absolutely. That is definitely the issue.
So what does that mean? I run a law firm. I have 100 lawyers. 10 of them are highly compensated. I've got the whole smattering of people in the middle. What do I do? What does that look like?
I'll give you an example. So let's just take a specific benefit, like long-term disability.
Okay.
So long-term disability, typically within a law firm, regardless of size, really provides 60% of pre-disability earnings up to about $15,000 or $20,000 a month if someone ends up becoming disabled. So that fits really great for everyone who makes up to $300,000, because that's how that math works. Anyone who's making over $300,000 a year, if they become disabled, 60% of that is just not going to, it's not going to help them to continue to live a lifestyle that they've become accustomed to and service potential debt that they have. It's, and that's always that like that scary thing that you want to, I don't want to talk about my debt, but it's true. So someone who is making over $300,000, and typically, that's a group, like you said, you have those 10, equity partners who are making, X amount above that number. There is individual disability insurance on a group chassis that is inexpensive to raise that amount another $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 a month. So now they're able to make upwards of $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a month now on disability. And it comes so much closer to 85% of what they were making before. So that's a proportionate benefit. The same goes for really any level that's in there inside of a firm that becomes available.
And how do you, as someone who would maybe be administering benefits, how do you understand how many levels should you have, and what does it look like? Is it really disability? Is that the biggest one, or does it apply to life insurance? Can it apply to health insurance? What does that look like?
Sure. It mostly applies to long-term disability. It applies to short-term disability. It applies to life insurance for sure. There's so many tools that are available, and we always have to be very careful to say financial tools, even though they are. But there are so many tools available to them to be able to become educated on, gosh, who needs what. And it's really just looking at the demographic. It's looking at your census. It's analyzing what they get, not just, and it's always remembering this, that a lot of times they say, well, we'll just look at the salary. Well, salary plus bonus becomes total compensation, and a good partner broker should be helping them with analyzing that they can put those together to qualify and get more out of their insurance and what they're spending on insurance. But their payback is so much more. And then the language inside of these contracts to ensure that they get paid if that tile falls down and hits them in the head and they become disabled, right? So it's a good partner. Asking your brokerage partner, asking your financial planner, okay, we need to analyze what proportionate benefits would look like for our firm.
I love that. And it feels like that is something, as lawyers are preparing for retirement or starting to think about what the wind down of their career looks like, this is something that kind of checks a box for them, to let them not worry about what's happening while they're still working and really thinking about how they're planning for what happens when they're not.
Absolutely. And, much of the work that we did when we were doing succession planning together, and still do, it's how do we fund for it? How do we fund for it? And guess what? Life insurance is a great tool to be able to fund for that. And it's just there's so many solutions that are available, and we'll talk about that, on the other side.
Awesome. So that means that we're going to take a break, and after that break, we're going to hear all about the solutions. So we'll be right back.
You're really good at this.
In today's legal world, reputation isn't built by word of mouth alone. It's built by presence. Your firm's story deserves to be seen, heard, and remembered. At Vibe Media, we help law firms modernize their image with powerful video, photography, and branded storytelling. No more stock photos or templated websites. We create authentic visuals that capture your team's integrity, expertise, and human side. Because clients don't just hire lawyers, they hire people they trust. From attorney profiles and brand films to recruitment videos and event coverage, We bring strategy and creativity together to showcase what makes your firm different. If your firm is ready to stand out in a crowded market, it's time to tell your story with intention. Visit thenewvibe.com and let's bring your vision to life with Vibe Media.
Welcome back to The Stand. I am your guest host, Debbie Foster. The table has been flipped. I am here with my good friend and fellow Lemonhead, Alan Wilson from GLJ Benefits, and we have identified an issue. And the issue is that benefits do not have to be one size fits all in a law firm, yet in many firms, that is exactly what they look like. And so the solution to that, Alan, is?
So the solution is, Debbie, first of all, let me say, by the way, you're really good at this. So
if my day job doesn't work out.
I will tell you, let's get to it. So I really, the solution, there's so many. However, specifically, it is not being afraid to ask your partner, in your broker partner, or reach out to those who have done it many times to help consult with it. Certainly we do all of that, but it's having a good consultant to say, let's take a look at what we do today. And what does our census look like in our demographic makeup? What is that? And what have people been asking for? Because I hear more than anything else when I start talking to firms and talking to them about designing a benefit package, I ask, what have your members been asking for? And it's like this door flies open. It's like, oh, well, everyone wants something for behavioral health. They want something for mental health. We've got a lot of kids in college. Oh, we've got this. And we start asking those questions and it just comes flooding in. So then it's, okay, here's our demographic. Here's what we have today. What are the proportionate benefits, and what can we fill all of these requests with that is not going to completely put the law firm underwater financially?
Mm-hmm.
And it won't. It
Yeah.
really doesn't when you analyze it that way. I'll tell you a quick story. Big firm in the South. I was just working with them here recently, and they told me this story. The COO said, we just lost 3 of our rainmakers to, and they're in their mid 30s, and mid 30s, 40s, and they're rainmakers. They're killing it, right? And we did not have a benefit for family planning. They're starting to plan their families now because they're out of, they're into their practices now.
Mm.
They have decided, all 3 of them were female, and they all said, you know what? There's no benefit for family planning here. And they got romanced by a boutique firm. And this boutique firm said, "Oh, well, we offer a benefit that has, in vitro, that has, family planning, that has all of that." And this big firm who has this massive benefit plan, they didn't have it, and they got blindsided, and they lost 3 major contributors over a benefit.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't, hey, can we talk about maybe, putting this in? It was, we're gone. Somebody headhunted them. Somebody came in and said, they don't have this. That's how you can get them.
Wow.
And it was over a specific benefit. So the call, while it being late, was, guess what? Our committee wants to look into that. What do you guys have on that? We weren't even their broker, but
Yeah.
it was, hey, you do all these ALA firms and you have all these programs. What do you have and what can you find for us that will help us? So there's so much that's out there that's available to enhance benefit plans and make them unique specifically for your firm, regardless of what your size is.
So I would imagine, as you're telling that story, I'm thinking that there are probably a lot of firms that, the example that I would use is oftentimes when I have to work with someone's accountant for something that we're working on financially related, I will ask someone like, is your accountant your tax preparer? Are they really a business advisor? And most of the times firms say, oh, they're just our tax preparer. And I'm like, great, I'm not going to get anything valuable except for some spreadsheets from these people. I would imagine that there is some truth to that from a benefits broker perspective, that there are some firms that have a benefits broker who are like, it's time to renew, right click, copy, right click, paste, fill in. So if I am running a law firm and I want something more or different from my broker, what do I do?
Wow. But and I will tell you, don't settle. So there is absolutely don't settle, and it's an indictment on my own industry, right? I hear this, and what's amazing to us is recently we've received a flood of inquiries from ALA members and even just law firms that have called us and said, hey, you know what? Our broker's been with us for a long time, but we can't get a hold of them. Their service is it's not good. There's turnover. They don't have offerings that are, anywhere close to, fitting what our needs are, and well, hey, tell me more about that. Right.
Right.
And when they do, their eyes get open to a whole new world of really the entire full circle of opportunity to have a good quality benefit program unique to their firm and still get great service, even though that broker or representative is not in their city. That's always been that. Okay, well, our partner's, brother's, wife is a broker, and they come out for renewal, and but they don't really help with enrollment, and they don't really advise us on HR, and they don't do those kind of things. But there's this relationship, and the administrators, knows that they can do better, but there's that hard conversation that's happening. Well, I'm telling you that those hard conversations in today's world, and I'm telling you, just in the last 2 years, those are now being had.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that it's coming full circle. So start by challenging the norm. I would say challenge what it is that you have. If you're running a firm and you're running benefits, and that you have people that are asking for benefits that you don't have, that's a red flag. That is something that you should immediately take that to the managing partner or whomever it is, the benefits committee or whoever, and say, listen, we need to huddle.
Yeah.
We need to huddle. I'm getting requests for all these. We need to find a resource for this. Or we're just not getting the service that we need to help us. Gosh, I'm talking to firms that have 200 employees, and they're still enrolling their people every year with paper. And if you don't have an online enrollment system, regardless of what your size is, wow,
Right.
you're just it just puts this huge responsibility onto the administrator that's not necessary, and it's costing the firm money.
Yeah. So I think that I know what the solution is. But do you have anything else you want to add that might change my mind for what I think it is?
Well, gosh, now, inquiring minds want to know what Debbie Foster is always thinking inside that brain.
So I think that the solution is being strategic around benefits is one of the most important things that a benefits leader does for a law firm. And that being strategic means thinking for yourself, listening to what your people have to say, and challenging your broker and really working strategically with your broker to make sure that a package is being designed that makes the most sense for your firm, your people, your teams.
Absolutely. You nailed it. I mean, it's being strategic and not being afraid to challenge what it is that you are not getting from your broker. Because if you're not getting it, then really it's time to say, we need to find somebody that'll help us with this. Even if it's just a consultant that will come in and look at the whole thing. So that's really it. It's absolutely being strategic with your, with your benefits and understanding your group and what they want. Don't be like that group in the South that just all of a sudden gets hit in the side of the head, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, we just had all this money go out the door over a benefit that we could have done.
Right. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Alan, I just want to thank you for joining me as my guest on the stand today. It has been a pleasure having this conversation about benefits and flipping the table around and being on the other side of it with you.
Well, thank you, Debbie. You are the host with the most.
How do people get in touch with you?
Oh gosh. I'm kind of like you. You can bump into me on LinkedIn, certainly, but you can reach out to me at alan@gljinsurance.com, and also go to our website. Go to gljbc.com, gljbenefitconsultants.com. You can find us there. And my cell phone number is Debbie, this has been fun. I got to tell you, man, I love it. I love it. Thanks for doing this, and thanks to everyone for joining us on the stand. We'll see you on the next episode.